Hey guys, welcome to the channel and another video. Today I'm going to be watching Master and Commander, Far Side of the World by Peter Weir, starring Russell Crowe and Paul Bettany. Weir's name is familiar to me since he made one of my favorite Jim Carrey films, which is also in my top 25 films ever, The Truman Show. I love that film. I know he also made Dead Poets Society, which I have yet to watch, but I will eventually because it's considered a classic. I'm a huge fan of both Crowe's and Bettany's work, as I've watched plenty of films starring them, although I don't know much about this film. I've seen it running on TV about 15 years ago, and I know it has something to do with the Napoleonic Wars. I also figured that it's set in the ocean, so hopefully there'll be decent ship battles, water effects, and cinematography. I don't know whether it's based on true events or not, but we'll find out soon enough. But before we get into it, to help support the channel, I have a Patreon page for full-length reactions to over 80 movies, early access, and weekly polls for what to watch next. You'll need your own copy to watch along. The link's in the description below, by the way. Please consider being a patron, please subscribe to the channel, do check out my other videos, like if you like this video, dislike it if you didn't. With all that being said, let's get started. Master and Commander, Far Side of the World, Weir, Crowe, Bettany, let's go. April 1805. Master and Commander, The Far Side of the World. This film came out the same year as Lord of the Rings, which I haven't watched yet. And I will this week, by the way. Sink it or burn it or take it as a prize. Okay. The film is set up. Captain Aubrey has to capture this French vessel. So it's the British and the French who are involved in this film. They were historical rivals. And the French helped the Americans gain their independence and send the Statue of Liberty, if I'm not mistaken. That's a beautiful shot. I wonder whether they actually built a replica of the ship or not.
What is it, Slade?
Well, they heard something.
Yeah, I don't think the ship is CGI.
What is it? I don't know what it was. Should we beat to quarters?
He's not sure whether it's the enemy or not.
You must make a decision. We shall beat to quarters!
A decision has been made for him. The drums of war. This is a very primal sound. They've been used for generations.
Where away?
2 points off the starboard bow, sir.
You sure, Mr. Holland?
Yes, sir.
Captain doesn't approve. What a detailed set. Holy crap.
Down! All hands down!
Oh, Holland was right. Holy destruction, Batman.
Bring up and recover that.
They don't have the range. They need to get closer.
Stand tall on the quarterdeck, son, all of us. Engaged enemy frigate at 6 bells.
Hold fast. Another round.
Davies, Jemmy, get Mr. Pulleys below!
This fog really adds to the atmosphere. And they're suffering heavy losses. I don't think they can even get close. Hey, Paul Bettany. Oh, they are close. And it looks like they have a much smaller ship. Beautiful scene again.
Steering don't answer, sir!
They have no steering.
Pull the gun crews to deck. Rig man ropes over the stern and pull the boats in. Put us in that fog, Tom.
Oh no, they want to disappear. And they're using the wind, I think. They're trying to pump out the water. They've sustained heavy damage. Holy crap. And the French captain is looking directly at them. Oh, they're being towed. That makes a ton of sense.
We've done it!
And they've disappeared. they realize that they're outmatched. That's definitely a tactical retreat. I have to admit, the cinematography so far has been beautiful.
2 feet 6 inches, sir. And holding.
Oh,
Lord Blakeney.
oh, that kid.
Just came out of nowhere. The simple fact is we were soundly beaten.
Basic repairs, we can get home as we are.
We're not going home.
But to refit, we need a port, and the Acheron may be still looking for us.
We can refit at sea. Here. We're at Shoals.
But it's dangerous, you just saw that. Oh no, I know what this means. They're cutting off the blood supply so his arm can be amputated. Infection, gangrene, there's no other way. At least in 1805. This is not easy to watch.
Look! The captain carved that when he was a mid, no more than your age. He's known this ship man and boy. He says there's enough of his blood in the woodwork for the ship to almost be a relation.
They're trying to do brain surgery on a moving ship. This is so crazy. He's using the coin as a plate.
And he knows his birds and beasts. You show him a beetle, and he'll tell you what it's thinking.
Ah, he's not only a doctor, he's a scientist.
The doctor told me you were fond of reading, so It has all of his major battles in it, and some very fine illustrations.
Did you ever meet Lord Nelson, sir?
I had the honor and privilege of serving with him at the Nile, a great victory.
He's a famous captain too, with books written about him. A beautiful bit of music. And I have to say, so far the lighting work has been very stellar.
That's what the men call it. It's the Acheron.
Acheron. Finally we got the name.
I saw there was something right strange about her, and so I asked Joe, and
So he described it to me, and I knocked you up a model, so...
This framing is accurate.
Exactly accurate, sir.
Wow.
An extra ration of rum for these men.
Thank you very much, sir.
Bluff above the water and sharp below. Gives us a hull of finer entry and a long run as she goes aft. That's why she's so fast. That's the future. What a fascinating modern age we live in.
Even if we did catch up with her...
They can't do any damage. Being in the shipping industry myself, you'd think that I know more about ships. I know a lot about container vessels and stuff, but not historical vessels and how they operate. I actually grew up riding on vessels and stuff, but again, they were all modern vessels.
a large man of war French stopped here on the 10th and then headed south.
Somewhere here. To wives and to sweethearts. May they never meet.
Good one, Captain Aubrey.
Excuse me, sir, but Mr. Blakeney said that you served under Lord Nelson.
I have had the honor of dining with him twice, and he said, Aubrey, may I trouble you for the salt?
Just tried to say it exactly as he did.
The second time he told me a story about how someone offered him a boat cloak on a cold night. And he said no, he didn't need it, but he was quite warm. His zeal for king and country kept him warm.
He was an inspiring man.
And he would seem to be the exception to the rule that authority corrupts.
Which would you choose?
I would choose the right-hand weevil. It has significant advantage in both length and breadth.
Do you not know that in the service, one must always choose the lesser of two weevils?
I did not completely get the joke, but I'm sure it was funny to the rest of them.
The lesser of two weevils.
Oh! The lesser of two evils and weevils. I got that. Took me a second. I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer sometimes. I wonder how much of the water is actually CGI, because if it is, that's mighty impressive for 2003.
We must turn and fight.
But he has the weather gauge again, don't
He
you
must have
see?
been watching us from some inlet and waited till we passed.
Oh, the Acheron is here.
Run like smoke and oakum. This is the second time he's done this to me. There will not be a third.
Russell Crowe is really a fantastic actor.
I kill a relative of his in battle, perhaps?
He fights like you, Jack.
Weir is setting the French captain as Jack Aubrey's counterpart. One thing I haven't talked about yet is the costume design. The costumes are so realistic that it just blended in with the rest of the atmosphere.
Wouldn't want to lose you. Now.
Oh, they're creating a decoy, switching the lights exactly at the right time.
Now tell me that wasn't fun.
Captain Jack Aubrey seems like a very rational man.
Set a course south-southwest.
Aye, sir.
Those numbers at the bottom of the ship, they're used to calculate the draft. I know that much. Another beautiful shot. I wonder how Weir created such a compelling atmosphere.
12 knots, sir! That's 12 knots. That's good. I want more.
That's how speed was measured, with actual knots. I did not know that. Huh. You learn something new every day. Man, the sounds of the ocean and the creaking of the ship, the ambience is so realistic. The cinematography is just beautiful. The only negative thing I've seen so far, I think, is the pacing of the film, but it's not bad. It's still very good. Oh no. Something like this was bound to happen. What a miserable existence, but beautiful effects. I feel so conflicted. I can imagine the sheer horror, the terror of being thrown overboard in a storm like this. He had a patch ready and everything. Oh man.
I would say that I have never once doubted your abilities as a captain.
Speak plainly, Stephen.
You're not accustomed to defeat.
This is a ship of war, and I will grind whatever grist them requires in order to fulfill my duty.
Whatever the cost.
Exactly. Don't get blinded.
Whatever the cost.
We have made our turn northward. My dear doctor, we're headed back toward the sun. The Galapagos Islands.
Galapagos Islands. They're on the western side of South America.
The Acheron. For me.
Yeah, like I said, the cinematography, sound design, sets, atmosphere, they're beautiful.
Wait, it looks like a stick.
See, there's a spider. It's disguised itself as an ant. And here's an insect. It's taken on the shape of a thorn to save itself from the birds.
So we've raced the Galapagos.
I'm coming!
I love this piece of music. It's Bach. Oh.
What is it, curious, eh? Some type of gull?
And they're seeing animals they've never seen before.
Disgusting. It's got warts all over it.
I can't see any women. Those birds, they're a species of cormorant, but they appear to be flightless.
Oh, look, there's one going for a swim.
Iguanas don't swim, they're land animals.
These ones do.
They evolved separately so they can. I love how Weir is showing the subtleties of evolution.
2 new species in as many minutes.
God bless you, Captain.
It looks like they're rescuing some people.
Bring our bloody ship to the waterline. Fucking pirates.
Mr. Mowat, there's not a moment to lose. Have you forgotten your promise?
Subject to the requirements of the service.
I see. So after all this time in your service, I must simply content myself to form part of this belligerent expedition.
So I found a curious beetle walking on the deck.
2 minutes and 1 second, sir! That's not good enough. You want to see a guillotine in Piccadilly? Gonna call that raggedy arse Napoleon your king? No! Want your children to sing the Marseillaise? No! Starboard battery! Fire!
The sounds are so visceral.
1 minute and 10 seconds!
That's good time. Beautiful camera work. And this time it's not lit very dimly, it's bright.
As soon as he went up the mizzen, Will falls. And whose watch was it when we lost our wind?
You there! Stand fast! Mr. Pullings, defaulters at 8 bells.
He was deliberately insubordinate.
They've taken a set against me.
It's leadership they want. Strength.
You have to project that.
Cut him down.
And he feels guilty, I think. I bet he feels so isolated inside his head.
He thinks he's been cursed. Every time he's on watch.
Oh, the psychological pressure.
You feeling better now?
Yes.
And it's too quiet.
Goodbye, Blake.
Oh, man. I don't know whether to call him weak of mind or a coward or not, but he genuinely believes that he's cursed, and by sticking around, he'll just curse the rest of the ship, so he'd rather end his life.
Then we ask for your forgiveness, Lord.
The wind is finally picking up. And this is how superstitions are reinforced. Holy crap!
I didn't see you.
And I think he realizes that he needs his doctor and his musical partner and the person who's actually countering him and giving him sage, rational advice.
Tell me this wasn't on my account.
Not at all.
They stopped on land. Another procedure we have to go through.
Dean, please.
Without any anesthesia.
She'll patch up nicely.
Hey, they're playing cricket. Wow. He's been making drawings.
Should you really be getting up, sir?
Mr. Blakeney, are you also a doctor? Nonsense, I'll name a great tortoise after you. Testudo Aubrey.
Beautiful. That's all volcanic ash. Wow.
7 inches in length.
I think we should be getting back.
It's the Akron!
Open the cages.
They have no choice.
He's under the water, I'd say. If we caught up with her, I mean, to take her, we'd have to be bloody invisible.
Very interesting find.
Is that right?
It's that stick bug.
It's a rare phasmid, sir, in order to confuse its predators.
We've heard that before. Click! How are they going to camouflage the entire ship though? That was very good acting from Russell Crowe. Just from the expression on his face, I could tell his mind was lighting up. They're changing the name of the vessel and the flag.
I had no idea that a study of nature could advance the art of naval warfare.
More smoke!
Come on, Killick, you two, get dressed.
They're even disguising themselves.
Acting third lieutenant.
Thank you. You ought to be stationed on the quarterdeck. I'm sorry, Will.
Good for you, Will.
I wanted to say that.
I know what you want to say. You'll lead your gun crew, and then when we board, you'll take command of the ship from here on the quarterdeck.
Take command of the ship. Thank you, sir.
That's a mighty responsibility.
Congratulations, Lieutenant. The Acheron is a tough nut to crack. More than twice our guns, more than twice our numbers. They mean to take us as a prize. This ship is England. So it's every hand to his rope or gun, quick's the word and sharp's the action. After all, surprise is on our side.
Beautiful pun and a great motivational speech. What a beautiful shot.
see you afterwards.
Oh man, the music says no. One of them will die.
But you have had warning! Stop now, or we will destroy your ship! English Weller! Stop now, or we will destroy you!
The trap has been sprung. And that was the first time we actually heard the French in an hour and a half, more than an hour and a half. Are they crippled, as in the French? They are. I think these scenes are the best in the film. They're so difficult to shoot, and they're so convincing, especially the sound. That's a great leader, going in first. Oh, he's dead. Look at Mr. Blakeney. Oh man, great camera work here. I'm usually not the biggest fan of janky camera work, but when it works, and it's working here. Blakeney is just so impressive. Their numbers are increasing. They're freeing the captives. Blakeney better get a promotion.
Is the captain inside?
Not yet.
Docteur?
Oui.
Oh, the captain
Docteur Deligny, monsieur.
is dead.
Before the captain died, he said I was to give you this.
Oh man. I recognize all their faces.
Odd.
It's symbolic.
Can you help me?
On earth, as it is in heaven. James Lloyd. You, however, shall take the Acheron south to Valparaiso. Parole the prisoners there, refit as necessary, and we shall rendezvous in Portsmouth. I believe Mr. Hogg would be a good choice for sailing master, however. That will be your decision, Captain Pullings.
He's promoted.
And to you, sir.
He's a worthy captain.
I'll rest easier when I know they've reached shore. Only that poor unfortunate Higgins to tend to them. Still, he's better than no doctor at all.
I met that doctor I spoke to.
No, he died of fever months ago.
Wait, what? Their doctor was the captain!
Southeast by east. We'll intercept the Acheron and we'll escort them into Valparaiso.
Southeast by east.
They've been fooled! So they're back to chasing the Acheron again. One of my patrons told me that there is no sequel to this. This film definitely deserves a sequel, right? Oh man, there it is! It's hot on its heels already. That was a really, really well-made movie. Based upon the novels by Patrick O'Brian. Oh, it's based on books! I'll add it to the list of books I have yet to read. Thank you for the recommendation, guys. That was beautiful. Okay, I took some time to collect my thoughts. First off, that was a beautifully shot and directed film. Peter Weir did a great job with the script he had. The performances from Russell Crowe and Paul Bettany were very good, but I wouldn't go as far as to say that they were amazing. Surprisingly, my favorite character of the entire film was the young Lord Blakeney, whose courage and resilience really inspired me. I would consider the cinematography, sound design, direction, and sets and props to be the strengths whereas I'd say the actual score, the story pacing involving the French, and the somewhat unfinished plot to be weaknesses. Let's start with the directing by Peter Weir and the writing by him and John Cawley. Looks like the film was based on novels by Patrick O'Brian. I don't know how accurate this film was to the novels, but the adaptation was written pretty well. The plot was very simple, with the British HMS Surprise ordered to stop the much larger French ship, the Acheron. There isn't too much to say about the plot, except that I really want to watch a sequel to this. The film feels unfinished. I guess I have to settle for reading the novels. The actual directorial work was pretty stellar though. The pacing was slow and deliberate, which had its strengths and weaknesses. The slowness really made us intimate with the crew, and it almost made us a part of the ship. On the flip side of the coin, this hindered the storytelling a little bit. What I mean by that is that we don't really get to see the French ship and its captain. Throughout the film, we're reminded on how smart the French captain was and how he was almost Captain Aubrey's counterpart. I feel like there's a missed opportunity here, but not by not showing the French ship. Weir could have had a better flowing story if the antagonists, the French here, were given a little more screen time. This would have created an even more better narrative and would have given us a harder emotional impact when the ships finally come face to face, and the final battle was great, and I feel like that would have added a lot to it. Then again, that's my opinion though. The cinematography of this film was something to behold. Both the day and night shots were perfect. The lighting was stellar, especially the natural light from the candles and the moon really made the characters pop. The camera work itself was very detailed, and I love the little touches like the framing of some of the actors off-center or at an angle. That really went a long way in convincing the audience that they were actually on the surprise with them. The framing of both the ships were wonderfully done too. So was the editing of the film. The film flowed very smoothly, I'd say, given the script was a little slow. The action sequences were jagged and janky. I'm usually not a big fan of this style of camera work, but I have to admit, it really worked here. Great work in this department. I'm a little divided on the sound design and the score of the film. I absolutely loved the sound design, but just liked the score. The sounds of the ship creaking, the sounds of the ocean, and the general atmosphere created by the sound engineers, they were very convincing. I love the sounds of the heavy cannons hitting the hulls of the ship, and it really drew me in to the story as much as it scared me for the people. The score, on the other hand, was good, not great. I feel like the classic music used, especially Bach, was brilliant, but I would argue that the film was missing a certain iconic score. Lucky Jack deserved a theme song, like Captain Jack Sparrow in Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm not comparing these films in the traditional sense because they're vastly different, but every time you hear the Pirates of the Caribbean theme, you can't help but think of Captain Jack Sparrow. I wish I could say the same of this film, but I can't. The score, although very appropriately used, sounded a bit generic to me. Maybe I'm wrong here, and feel free to tell me how wrong I am in the comments below. The practical effects, the CGI, the props and set design of the film were stellar. Careful attention was paid by Peter Weir trying to ensure the historical accuracy of the film. I'm sure it's not 100% accurate, but it was very well done. We got to see the everyday lives of the shipmen from over 200 years ago. We got to see the flora and fauna of the Galapagos Islands. I wonder where they shot those scenes at and where the heck they found those beautiful turtles. The ship itself was so meticulously made. They had to have made a replica of some sort because they wouldn't be destroying a historical ship like that, and that's definitely not CGI, a lot of the destruction there. The ship being a set makes it even more impressive. We didn't get to see much of the French ship, the Acheron, but from what we did see, that was beautifully made too. The CGI of the water, that was something else for 2003. It was really convincing with the waves being so full and volumetric, if that's the right word to use. Russell Crowe and Paul Bettany played Captain Jack Aubrey and Dr. Stephen Maturin. Both were good in their roles. Crowe played his character with a reserved confidence, like he did in Gladiator, but this was different. A captain with a reputation, whereas Paul Bettany played a curious and rational naturalist and doctor. The chemistry between the two men was very good, and this was one of the backbones of the entire film. Like how Stephen always challenged Jack with the decisions he was making, especially the ones that the crew were not happy with. I don't believe their performances were Oscar worthy or anything, but they were very solid. I have mentioned the criticisms earlier, like the French storyline, the score, or the pacing, but overall, this was a beautifully shot and wonderfully directed film. Peter Weir continues to impress, but this is only my second film from him. I still haven't watched Death Poets Society, which I will. Russell Crowe and Paul Bettany do a very good job in their roles. The sound design, the amazingly made sets, the stellar CGI, and the great direction really elevate this film to heights it wouldn't have reached without this fantastic director. It had a few misses here and there, but looking at the work as a whole, it was a great 2 hours. I'm just sad that there's no sequel. Could you guys recommend me another great naval film? Doesn't have to be a period piece. A well-shot film in the ocean is always worth watching. Anyways, thank you for watching. I have a Patreon page. Consider being a patron. Subscribe to the channel. The link's in the description below. Do check out my other videos. Like if you liked this video. Dislike it if you didn't. I will see you in the next one. Bye.